You also asked me, say, what are the things that you that surprised you about the Vietnamese culture? Well, it surprised me once when I was somewhere in an organization and I opened a door and it was after lunch and all people were sleeping and I was, what is this? What happened? And then only then, but it was in my first weeks, I learned that.
So you surprised one time only?
I was only surprised one time, because then immediately I learned that this is what people, that is what we do. And a lot of the Dutch companies, they dim the lights after lunch, and people can get a nap, can do a nap and whatever. And I think actually it's healthy to do that. I think also because I see that people work hard here in Vietnam. And what I like about Vietnam is actually what is missing in the Netherlands. I mean, we are productive as well, but we are in Vietnam, you really secure your quality time. Lunch is lunch.
No working lunch.
You go out, you have with your team and you have fun together, you talk about the family, you talk about what you did the weekend, and don't touch on the Vietnamese lunch as a foreigner, because that is not good. That is not good, that's not good. And what I think is that we can learn from you, because what we do is just lunch, you have a piece of bread and you eat it while you're working and reading. And I think it's much more healthy to take your time, have your lunch, and perhaps do a nap afterwards, and then you are bright again, and you can go on, say, in the afternoon.
Let me start with what I have a question for you before. Yes, please have a seat. I would love to learn from you, and Ambassador Minh will be to join us later. But when we're talking about so many things to learn from Netherlands, we still learn from different culture, but we're not professional in corporate cultures or national culture. We simply talk about your culture of doing bicycle, the polder meeting, having consensus of everybody, having very low-level hierarchy, and then people can share the equal voices during the meeting. So make sure that every single time we have a project, everybody already know the goal of a project, and then after that, the execution go really quickly and fast. Some sort of story, some sort of impression like that, and I remember the sort of 5 objects to describe it: the table, the bicycles, Can you giving at least one example that you think that would be representing the culture, working culture of Netherlands?
Well, I think you already pointed it out. Yeah? I think, say, my brother, he's a consultant, and he brought in some other consultants to the Netherlands. He was there to advise a client, and it was a big client. And my brother, well, he had the lead. He brought in consultants from abroad and to the Netherlands, and then he had to leave earlier. He got an emergency call. He had to leave. And so it was the client with these foreign consultants together. But the foreign consultants were very good. They were top of the notch. And the client could afford that. So he went back, or he had to leave. But in the afternoon, he called the client and he said, so, how was it? And he thought he brought in terrific consultants. And he said, well, I tell you, that was a big disappointment. And he said, well, why? Well, I told him my plan, what I thought, what the plan I had. And then after I explained them the plan, I said, what do you think? And they said, excellent plan. And then he said, yes, but don't you think, shouldn't that change? No, excellent plan. Yes, but no, if this is what you want, we do it. Yes, but I mean, you don't have any comments? sir, if that is what you want, we do it. And that is not the Netherlands, because in the Netherlands, as you said and already pointed out in your introduction, if you have a plan, even if you are the boss, then you put your plan on the table and then everybody shoots at your plan. And that is indeed what, and it comes from our culture where we had to fight the water, to deal with the water, and everybody who dealt with the water, say, and it's already like, 1,500 years ago that we started that everybody had a say in it. And so everybody knew, first you discuss it, and then you agree, and then you can work on it. Because if you don't do that, then it doesn't work. But here, those foreign consultants said, you are the boss. You know what is good, and we do what you want. But that is not our culture. That is not our culture, yeah. And I think, say, in Vietnam as well, and of course I have I work with a few Dutch people, but the majority, far out the majority is Vietnamese. Well, they learned to speak out, and that is what we need, yeah. And also tell you when you don't like things, because that is what we do as well. We're very, in that sense, can be very direct. Yes. And yeah, and we know. I mean, I know abroad that's not always the case. So that is also what you have to try to find out. What are the Vietnamese telling me, saying by words, and what do they mean? Yeah, that is always the most difficult. I must say, what makes us as the Netherlands. We have a lot of experience working with the Vietnamese. Better, I think, compared to other countries, if we come in a country like Vietnam, yeah, then we set up a company, and I tell you that Dutch company, often there's not even a Dutch person who is heading it. It can even be Vietnamese. But if there is a Dutch person, they make sure that, for example, the FCO, they have a lot of Vietnamese people.
So local,
the majority. So, and that is also very good about learning from each other, because your government is very much like, you would like to transfer of knowledge. And I say yes, transfer of knowledge. And if we talk about, say, high tech, for example, you have the transfer of knowledge, the high-tech knowledge, but you also have the transfer of knowledge, how to manage. And we learn all of Vietnamese everything. We don't come into Vietnam because it has a cheap labor force. No, we come into Vietnam because we genuinely believe in the country and in the Vietnamese, and they can get any position. Yeah, because other countries, they can come in and everybody is from that country, except for the workers on the floor who do the non-educated work, and perhaps some others, but for us, even in the board, it's Vietnamese, and as I said, even the general manager, is Vietnamese, and that is also what we believe in.
Yes. So you allow the pathway, the opportunity for the Vietnamese, but before of all that, you talk about the knowledge exchange. I would like to ask, what's come first? If the culture of the way of working of of people from Netherlands is mainly bringing everything in the plan, let's work and understand and have a feedback. But you come to Vietnam, you need some ice breaking, or you need some cushion, like go to Bia Hơi, drop beer to become some friend first. Yeah. So what go first? Do you need to change a little bit when you realize you need to change that?
No, you come in and you get to know, you're doing your scoping, and then you already have to feel, well, this country, I like to be here, and I think I can work with them, because that is the first feeling, of course. And then you have the Dutch Business Association, for example, and you have the embassy they go to, and they ask the same questions. And we can confirm that it's very pleasant to work here in Vietnam, because you are productive and you're friendly, and you're serious and you want to improve. Now you have ambition, and to improve, and you are not afraid to learn. Because some people say, oh, I know enough. Don't tell me what to do. No, you don't have that. You are eager to learn, yeah? And that is something, and not every culture is open. There are cultures who are like, and they are not that well developed sometimes, and they say, oh, we know what to do, but then you say, but look at your country, I mean, where are you? And Vietnam is very open for learning, and that eagerness, that attracts a lot of people, yeah. What I see in my, let's say then working with, can I go on?
Yes.
Yeah. What I see then in working with the Vietnamese is, I think the lack of hierarchy, that's an important one, what we discussed. So everybody can have a say, even if somebody just is in the business, say, for 2 weeks, and he is a 24-year-old guy, or 20 even. Still, they can have good ideas, yeah? And then still you can pick that up. And as a manager, what you should do, give them the credit. Give them the credit. Don't say, oh, I have this wonderful idea, which you heard from your 24-year-old employee. No, give them the credit because that also empowers them. And I think, and that is also something that you should realize. And one of the things is also, 20% thinking first, and then doing it is investing. You should invest in your people, give them the time, say, have a coffee with them, and sometimes you're like, but I'm too busy. Yeah, you might be too busy, but if you spend a bit of time now, you can harvest so much better results from that employee much later. Just, and see them. And don't think I'm too busy, I cannot even say hi. No, never.
Wonderful.
Even if you are the boss, greet people.
For you personally, you realize that from day one, how long it take you to realize all of that that's needed to put things together? When is your institution?
Oh, I tell you, I was at the beginning of my career, I was very much on the content. No, but it was very much when I started working, I was very much on the content first, and that was important. And then sometime I got a boss, and he was not so much on the content, but he could be very like, oh, I forgot the name of her partner, the partner of my employee. What's his name? How come I can? And I told him the name, and he's like, oh, I'm so happy you tell me because they're coming to me, and I should know the name. And I'm like, why? But then I realized that this guy, he wasn't so much on the content. And then I discussed it with him. He said, no, you are my content. You tell me what I should do, because I can get higher up. I can go to the minister, I can see the president. But you are I trust in you. I trust in you, and that's what he did. And what he created a very good atmosphere in the office. So everybody loved to work for him, and they didn't want him to fail. And so they worked very hard. And he was also like, if something, an emergency in the weekend or in the late in the evening or sometimes at night, when he called you, you didn't mind because he said, oh, please come over. And you knew he took care of you and he gave you some food, some coffee. And you love to work for the guy. And then I saw that, this guy, the atmosphere he creates make people want to work for him. And make also, and also he could he wasn't always on the content, but you told him a few words and he grabbed it immediately. And he could say, go to the president and, really make a wonderful case and plead the case, and that's it. So then I learned also, it's not all about content, it's about the relation in your office, it's the atmosphere in your office. Yeah, do people like to come to the office? If they don't like to come to the office, then the results. It's,
So is that similar to the comic of a light bulb? You came to Vietnam and you create the environment, the vibe first. the feeling, the opportunity to talk and to understand people before you work with them.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, but of course, I mean, when I come into Vietnam, and Vietnam is different from the country I came from Palestine. And so I listened to my staff, yeah? To my number two who told me how it worked, and I discussed with the Vietnamese themselves. And you always have to find out. And that is also something, I mean, you might be old, but you shouldn't be too old to learn. And because, and especially if you go from country to country, you should be open, yeah, to learn and to understand what is going on and how things work and how things don't work. Because you might have done years and years one thing, but it doesn't work in Vietnam, and then you have to change. Yeah.
So when you talking about the way, and clearly when you say you learn about Vietnamese and the Vietnamese learn from you,
Yeah.
this is one of a challenge that we're hearing so many Westerners, so many expats, so many professionals come from Europe, from the US talking about working in Vietnam. Some smart Vietnamese, they like to improvise. They like to do a little bit faster. They learn fast, so they like to do shortcuts. They like to cut some and going faster in some way and skip some other step. Right? For example, from people from the Netherlands say that no, you have to do 1, 2, 3. You have to follow the schedule. You have to follow the process, the procedure. Is any clashes? Anything is really something that you experience that you have some difficulty in terms of handling or addressing it?
Well, that's an interesting one, because one of your comments was also about rules, regulation, process, bureaucracy.
And I remember in Europe, there is a term for it. The term called sweet army knife syndrome.
Oh?
I don't know exactly who invented that, but simply the European make joke about themselves, saying that we developing so many things that sometimes not necessary.
Yeah.
So when the Vietnamese learning it, either some of them learning from the West and they want like to go exactly where it should be. But many others say, why is that too much? Either that I cannot learn it or I need to go fast. So I skip some steps.
Okay, well, I must say it depends, because I mean, when it comes to process and rules and regulations, I think these are being put in place and they have a purpose. But I mean, these rules and regulations have been put in place for 90% of the cases. But sometimes it doesn't fit. And then you should think, oh, it doesn't fit, and then do something else. That is what I say. And
So you have to figure out doesn't fit.
yes, but the thing is, because for me it's the other way around. Sometimes I think, okay, we skip that, and then my Vietnamese staff said, what? It's the procedure, it's the process, and there's a protocol. I said, might be the process, the protocol, but it doesn't fit right now. So we should do it otherwise. And I must say, because I think, and that's a very interesting thing, I think Vietnamese are very good at improvising. But at the same time, they don't like it. They rather stick to the protocol. They rather stick to the protocol, and if it's not according to the protocol, then it's difficult to get them off the protocol.
To be on the safe side, right?
Yes. No, they always, and even if you say, well, we shouldn't do that anymore, then still, to get them off now, it's difficult. And my team as well, they are very much, yes, but it is the protocol, and yes, but we should do it this way. I said, yes, but I don't think it is appropriate right now, so we should change. But I don't feel comfortable with that. But if we are, say, in the middle of a high-level visit, and something doesn't work, and something comes up, and then there's a difficulty, then they are very good in improvising. Or actually, perhaps that's not the case, because what I notice, they already, in the back of their mind, have thought of a plan B. And that is what I like so much about the Vietnamese. Yeah.
Improvising and always think of plan B if possible.
Yeah. And you do
the brain
that.
has to go really fast.
Yeah. No, but I think, well, at least my staff, they have it. I mean, because the thing is as well, I mean, what we, for us, it is, what I know to say, at least in the government, they don't like to tell their bosses that something cannot work as they want, or something they want, no, it cannot happen. And they don't, there's little communication between people who are working, say, in this ministry at this level, and then up there at the other level in another ministry, or in the government house, or in the presidency. And the communication is not that strong. For us, we tell immediately if something works or not. And I told my staff, you should tell me. Yeah? And my staff does it. But it's also because, I mean, I actually didn't need to tell them because they work, some of them work already for quite some time for the Dutch embassy. But it is also because we give them the responsibility. Yeah, so, and I think that is important.
And a clear set of responsibilities.
If you make clear, listen, it's in your hands. If you screw up, we screw up. Yeah, so, and that gives the people the feeling, oh, so I'm in charge, and they are in charge. And of course, if they screw up, then we see what we can do. But I mean, it is, they are responsible for it. And that makes it also that they already thinking of a plan B. And I like that. And I also noticed that they like it because you're not like one of a radar in a whole large system.
No.
But it's much more that you are, no, you are on your own.
Just focusing.
And you have a lot of colleagues, and colleagues can help you if you need them, and that's what they do. But you are the one who's responsible for this thing,
outcome.
For this outcome, for this visit.
Yes. You already raised the question that I'm supposed to make. You also answer them perfectly. And you actually already run the show. So I think that everything you just mentioned is, you know, when you think that that's what you already work on, what you already figured out, what you already achieve, is already experienced over the past years you in Vietnam, not only in your own office, but in a lot of projects that you've done for Vietnam with the Vietnamese people. I'm just saying that it's very important to say that, but out there, many of us still learning. And like you say, the Vietnamese, we like to learn really hard. We learn a lot. And one of the things that struck us so much is that there are so many things to learn out there. If I have 4 years with Mr. Kees van, and I really have time with him, and he gives it the vibe, the energy, the environment for me to grow, not only myself, to be independent, but to dependent and relationship with people, then I'm very lucky one. But out there in the labor market, in the management, and in the innovations fields of what the government developing right now, it's always the challenge of how much to learn. How much to focus, how much to discipline, and how much to innovation. There's some sort of a contrasting concept here. Would you like to bring some of that into from your experience to the audience?
Well, I think when it comes to content, the Vietnamese are good. Yeah, and it is, and the Vietnamese stand out when it comes to STEM. You know, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. What I see, and it's not so much the employees, but it's much more Vietnamese managers. Managing is a skill in itself. And managing is not telling people what to do. Managing is motivating your people. Say managing is, say, make your people like going to the office. Say, make your people being proud of who you are. And managing is not like, you know, telling them off, like, oh, you did this wrong and whatever. Because, no, but that's another thing. You know, I like when people take initiatives. And certainly when you give people a responsibility, they also take initiatives. And sometimes it might not work out. Okay, then you sit together with them. And you might be like, that's a pity. But then you sit with them and said, okay, what happened? And
Good
they
try,
tell you
yeah.
what to, you know, what happened. And it's okay. And it's okay. Learn from it. And that is, you should give people the space to make mistakes. Yeah? Because give them the responsibility. But with responsibility, and that is important, it's not only giving them responsibility, but also giving them your trust. And I give people the trust, and it's not that they have to earn my trust, but they have to keep my trust. Yeah. So I give them the trust.
To be up to your trust, right?
Exactly.
Trust.
Yeah. No, and then there's, and sometimes, and if say something doesn't work out, okay, then we see, okay, what went wrong, and then you learn from it. And you should give people, you give them the trust, but you also give them the space to make errors, to make mistakes. But you also learn, or you also know, because you did it yourself as well, that is a way of learning. Yeah? And that is important.
You mentioned something also very important at the beginning, that you should give people credit if they succeed.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yeah, because that is a way of also empowering.
We call it the art of management. It's the artwork. It's a work of art. In order to learn it, is still, you know, in Vietnam over the past 10 years, there's so many training programs, so many management, and we get a lot of from government, like the Netherlands government over the years, having capacity building, and we were working on that over the past 15 years. And the interesting that we're seeing that when we talk about fail, like they say, there's a leader, especially big leaders, gonna say, we allow you to make mistakes. But when we actually go and work, it's not going to happen because mistake costs you money, can affect the revenue, can affect the impact. And then what we're going to do? Then they say, okay, let's think about some interesting concept of calling intelligent fast failure. Which means if you make a mistake and you fail, you make sure you fail fast.
Oh, okay.
You believe in that? Because when you learn fast enough, you realize when you fail and make sure you fail fast. Of course, you have to learn from it. That actually is the harder part. But you believe in something like failing fast, knowing, acknowledging when you have to stop. Because, you know, you cannot leaving the mistake because not everyone working alone. People work as a team, and one mistake can affect a whole. And that, what do you think about that concept? Intelligent, fast failure.
Well, I didn't grab it completely yet, friends, but I mean,
Too
it's what you
complicated.
say. But what you say is like, you should realize soon enough that you made a mistake. And so you also then realize you have to stop doing it and also be open about it. Yeah? And that's an important one. Say, oh, sorry, I screwed up, because that is, because otherwise it goes on and it affects the whole. It's about the apple. You also have one with the apple. That is the apple in your comics, a bad apple, and it's affecting the other apples.
You like our comics. The apple is getting rotten, and it's when it's falling down, it's gonna smash other smaller apples. So it's the matter of the periods of realizing it is time to stop the mistake. Actually, it's learning, and we call it, if any mistake that we don't learn, that is not intelligent.
Especially when you should also know to cover your mistake, right? Sometimes, people try to make it up, try to cover it, and not acknowledge it.
No, but that is...
That's a good point, because when you don't learn it, you want to hide it because you're afraid that you want to take responsibility for it, then which means the knowledge is not transferred. Then which means it's not intelligent, because next time, no lesson learned, and next time you make the same mistake.
No, but I think that is, of course, but that's also say, if you know that the management, say, okay, not only saying, you can make mistakes, but also when it happens. Of course, they might not be happy, but at least they support you. And that is the important thing.
I'm very glad. I'm very glad we on the same page on, and this isn't just not a conversation. You know every single word of what we're saying. The audience, especially student, young professional, they come back with only smarter and harder questions. That's why sometimes we need to really make a tough question and try to answer it. They count on us. Maybe before we jump into what we can conclude a bit, I would love to go back to the polder meeting, where you're talking about the meeting from Netherlands culture, when you have the ability to get people have a voice, have the saying in what you plan. And from that, everybody could be able to contribute to the plan until they master it. And then when they execute it, it's perfectly no mistake or mistake learned fast and intelligently. One of the challenges right now that we're working with so many leaders around Vietnam and outside Vietnam as well is in those meetings. The hardest part is not about letting people have their voice or have their say. The hardest part is how the decision maker, the top leader, the CEO, for example, could be able to collect of all and take what's the best.
No, but yeah, of course, that is what it is about.
Yeah.
I mean, what we normally do, if we have such a thing, then we set out what the plan is, and what sometimes there is no plan yet, but we have to build a plan. And then we ask input from everybody, and then they go out in smaller meetings, and they come up and they have sticky notes and all these kinds of things, and they're being explained, and they're being discussed, and then we work it out. Yes, and that is. And how we work it out, that is for the knowledge I have, for example, because I know, for example, well, this thing, I love it very much, but it doesn't work with this institution, or say this ministry doesn't like these things, and with my knowledge and experience. And I go back, and I tell them, then we discussed the outcome. We said, well, this is what we choose, and this is also why we choose it, and why we didn't choose for the other things. So
in other words, that you building the plan or the strategy based on validating it, validating the plan or the strategy based on work with the smaller teams to know the capacity to execute.
Yes, but and I go back to the whole group.
You have feedback
and
also,
explain, say what we do and why we do it, and why we didn't take into account other things, for example, because it might be that we have already tried it, and it's too risky, and for example, and or that it didn't work out then at the time, so we don't want to do it right now because this time for example, the visit is very high level and we need to be sure of the things. So that is it, what you do. And it is, it is quite some work at the beginning, but that is why you do it, because as you said, if you do these things all up front and everybody knows how and why, then people can go and work with it. And it is like, why didn't we do this? Why didn't we
And then in the Vietnamese culture, is also one of the ways to address the face-losing issue. When if some some leaders just put a big event, big meeting, and then ask, who do this, who do what? It might have a face losing. Some people might feel losing their face, but if you do smaller meeting before the big meeting, you would have already the knowledge of knowing where your team would be able to do it or not. So you don't gonna fall into of saying something that and the best part is they're gonna work together in one goal. And can I say that it's some sort of metaphor for the chopstick way. You're working on your strategy. You know the execution capacity. Is that happening in the public sector right now, where we're planning KPI, OKR across the country?
Outcome-based assessment. That's a new revolution. But the one thing I really believe that we need to learn from you is that the way you give feedbacks for the proposals that are not accepted, right? That's
Yeah.
very important because otherwise people would lose the incentives and the aspiration to contribute later. And they understand why their initiatives cannot be executed at this moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes in our organizations, leaders just did not have enough time to do the proper work of feeding, feeding back, telling people why their proposals do not work at this moment.
Yeah.
Appreciate the initiatives, appreciate the efforts, and explain why we cannot do that. That's very important.
No,
I love your word.
Yeah. No, and I think, I think also what you, because it's a very good thing you say so, because even with us in the Netherlands, say, if an advice is not followed up, and of course, I mean, when you make a decision, you get a lot of advices.
Sure.
And you go a certain way. But if an advice is not followed up, then people say easily, and we call it, in Dutch, they say, they threw it in the wind.
Yeah.
And I always, making decisions all the time, I said, no, it doesn't mean, if they don't follow your decisions, it doesn't mean they threw it in the wind. No, they consider it. But in the end, they decided on reasons to go another way. But they always consider, I always consider advices. And that is what you, and as you said, if you don't do that, people are like, oh, I don't open my mouth anymore. And that is what you don't want, because then you also lose their commitment. And that is not, people, I mean, that is wonderful if you have a team that feels committed.
We have a similar saying that the boss just throws our idea into the trash bin.
Oh yeah.
Just a trash bin.
Yeah, no, but
not really win.
Yeah.
So happy you both brought it in, because even though we need to wrap up, but I still want to make this ask for this question. I think that whether it's Vietnamese, of course, we have more losing face losing feeling. That's how we're learning, right?
Yeah.
But in the meeting where you have a directness, you have a straightforward, you say, okay, we don't take it. Maybe we're not gonna say you wrong. You heard feedback and everything. But in the end of the day, some people, either they have an insecurity, or some people try to prove themselves so much that they work really hard, but eventually their advice didn't get accepted by you. Of course, some people would have the hurt feeling.
Yeah.
Some people keep it inside. Some people keep for a long time. We are human. Let's not just say Vietnamese. What about people from Netherlands? How to address that? Do we need to take an account into how people feel? How we do that, and then make sure that we don't turn it into something that we have to, regret later.
Well, I think, say, if you think like, oh, and you feel bad about it, and you are a little bit like, why not? I think, well, you have to learn with that. You have to live with that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's first, because that is part of life. The other thing is the one that what you shouldn't do as a manager is if somebody brings up an idea which is not so good, don't say, oh, what an awful idea. No, you just say, for example, okay, let's have some more ideas. And later on you can tell the guy or the girl, say like, why it wasn't such a good idea. Never, when you don't like something people bring up or whatever, don't make them publicly, don't humiliate them in public. You shouldn't do that. But I mean, but you could say, well, I don't think this will fly because I know in The Hague there is a lot of resistance and we don't have the time to overcome that resistance. And then the guy might, or the girl might say, might be like, But I mean, well, that is up to them. I mean, it is like, that is also, there are a lot of feelings you have which are just feelings. Yeah? And feelings, you also have to overcome feelings. And it is not that, and that is also what is shaping your character. Yeah? And sometimes, for example, people can be very proud of things, or they can be they are hurt in their pride, but then it is also, well, step over your pride. And I think sometimes we have feelings that stand in our way of our own development. Yeah, and that is, I would say, yes. And when you grow up, you notice that, and these are difficult things to deal with. But that is the confrontation in life, and then you have to overstep them. Yeah, that is also a thing. So it's not always that we have to take care of the feelings of other people, because not everybody feels the same. Yeah, and you cannot say, I said, sorry, I don't feel well. I said, no, because if we have all the feelings, it is, that is too much. Yeah. But there are, in general, we know, if you tell somebody in a public meeting, like, oh, what a bad idea, how, I don't understand why you bring this up, and this is so stupid.
So, thank you so much from what you brought in, because if everybody discuss about the directness, the straightforwardness from the West, everybody was thinking that the boss or yourself can straightforward into someone else. I think we need to rephrase that. Yeah. With anything distinction from the culture of Netherlands, for example, would be directness, but with a very much understanding and knowledge of other feeling.
Well, I must say,
sensitivity, yes. Especially in Vietnam, we're very sentimental.
Too much, sometimes too much.
No, but I agree, because I think we as Dutch should also learn that our directness is not always working. And in a lot of cultures, it's rudeness. Yeah. And then we shouldn't say, oh yeah, we are direct. No, you should also take it into account and bring it in another way.
To be considerate.
Yeah, exactly. That is learning from each other.
Yeah.
I'm so enjoying this conversation. I think we can take it a couple of hours if we want. Endless, yes. So I think that maybe I would put in another metaphor from what I heard from and learned from both of you, is that we talk about one person as a leader and who have to have responsibility for the whole organization. Let's put it simple that way, not nation. We're talking about company, NGO, government office. Each one will be one organization with at least one or two leaders on top. I think is what you just mentioned, with all the ability, the knowledge, the skill, is about how that leader actually understands the body. If the leader is the brain, they have to understand whether the body could be able to have ability to attend any race.
To connect with your
To connect it. You understand your body enough, you can attend the marathon or the very fast, run really fast to go to some particular goal you want.
Yeah.
But if you don't understand your body, you don't understand how much your muscle would help, or your heart, you might have heart attack, overwork, you might have stroke. Yeah. And that was some of the art that we're working with, or so many organizations, and realize that people still want to learn about it. You understand your arm is already hard, but the whole body, with so many things connected, is already hard.
Yeah, but that is when you have to listen to your heart and to your knee. But your knee and your heart should talk to you as well. Yeah, let's say, listen, wait, I cannot do it anymore. Wait, this goes too fast. No, but that is about it as well. Yeah, because it is. I think even in the Netherlands, I mean, it's like, as the boss, you are the one. You are always the last to know.
Sure.
Yeah?
All the layers.
And that is what you, but it's also what you should realize. Yeah. So that is what I tell my people time and time again. Listen, I cannot do anything if I'm not in the know. So if you're unhappy about the situation, let me know. Otherwise, the situation will continue and nothing is happening. Unless you, but you also can change, of course. You can do it yourself. Yeah. And if you can do that, that's fine. But if it should come from me, then you should also tell me. Yeah.
Reduce the filters. Otherwise, you have a lot of sheen in filters.
You love the filter, yeah. But also, the filters, but also the thresholds.
Yeah, sure.
Because what I have, in the office we have one space. One space, and my room is, it is like this. It is my space.
Can you listen, Edro, like that?
Yeah, so it's easy to, you don't need even, my door is open. And I'm like, but if we need say something private, you can come into the cubicle, you close the door and we talk. But I mean, I have the view on all the open space, and they can come in and they can easily, or they can just raise their voice and they say, Kees, can I come to you for whatever? No, that's possible. And that is also what makes it the lines of communication.
Sure. Yeah.
Physically.
Physically.
So that threshold you have already removed. So now it's up to them to overcome the mental threshold. Yeah.
So that was really interesting. I mean, for the art of I think it was more like leadership. The art of leadership. That's the government of Netherlands has been working with Vietnam for so many years with that program. Maybe I would like to wrap this up by saying that if there is people from Netherlands who are now already here, who already know what's going on, they are working every day. I still remember I met one CEO and they say they took them 5 years in order to understand Vietnamese culture. 5 years, and they wish they would have some coach or some mentor helping them to understand. Because like you say, they have a straight mindset, they're shouting at people, they think they're gonna work, but it didn't work, people don't follow.
Too slow to accept
Too slow, okay. Too slow in learning. Yeah, but we cannot say that everybody would learn the same way. We would say that one would learn in a different way. And let's take the metaphor of the brain, of understand the body. Or one chopstick needs to learn the other chopstick in order to grab exactly what you really want to grab in. In other words, each one leader should understand where the priority should be. Prioritizing, I think, would be the hardest thing in the world right now, where the world's changing so fast. And if we don't know the priority, then people, the body under us, they're gonna go different direction. They don't know where to go and might be end up grabbing nothing. So among a lot of advice, a lot of, would be able to tell and give an advice for the person doing business, doing government work from Netherlands to Vietnam, who coming soon? What's the best advice they would love to give it to them?
Your successor.
My successor.
Oh, I'm not asking.
No. But you mean in the term of, but in the framework of prioritizing?
Yes, prioritizing. I think that I would love to make another question, but I don't know whether our time's allowed. But if you can jump into that as elaborating, because I believe that this one of the skills is very difficult right now. Prioritizing your agenda.
Well, as somebody say would come in, I would say the Vietnamese are very good, very clever. They are eager to learn. Listen to them carefully, and also what they are not saying, but also tell them that, encourage them to say, actually, we could do the whole interview again, because all the things we brought up is what I would say to a Dutchman who comes in. And what I think is that, give them your trust. I think that's the most important. Give them your trust, give them responsibility, and make sure that they can always come to you or somebody else, say in the management team, if things are not working. And I think, but I think as well, I think say we have quite some Dutch companies, and not all companies are the same, but the working culture in Dutch companies is quite Dutch. And I see it with the organizations. We have organizations who are set up as Dutch organizations. It's SNV, it's IDH, it is Oxfam, Novib.
Oxfam, right.
Yeah, they are, and it is we have MCNV, Medical Committee in the Netherlands, Vietnam. All those, they have,
Big number.
they still have this Dutch connection, and there is this link with the Netherlands, and they see what the Dutch culture is, and it is like I learn from them and speak to them as well. And people know what to expect. That is the preparation you should get.
Lovely.
That sounds simple, but I think it's the most important and the hardest one to earn in the world right now. The trust.
But also don't interfere with lunch. And give you a break afterwards.
Okay.
No working lunch.
No working lunch.
No, you can do a working lunch. You could do. You can do lunch, but I mean the thing is not.
Relaxing.
Don't have a meeting and then the meeting goes on till 12:30. No,
But when they already on your trust, they know the priority is there. Maybe they can compromise because we're very flexible.
That's true. Yeah. But I mean, if I do it time and time again, if I don't learn from that mistake. No.
1 or 2 times, okay.
I see that Ha follows your advice. Not
Yes.
going to lunch
Yes,
time.
yes. I keep
She
doing
want to
what
run
I
me.
want. Exactly. That was wonderful. I think I have only the last question to try to achieve our goal with both of you. And this now not only with the Netherlands. I would open up for both of you if you have an advice or any comment on any way that a Vietnamese professional working mindset when they have a relationship with a non-Vietnamese in general. Maybe Ambassador Minh would love to share with us with some advice or some insights or anything we can follow for the next postcard. Maybe not to address all today.
That's again a very tough question as Ambassador Kees van Baar just mentioned. We need 2 more hours, right? To go from the beginning to the end. But I think this is a very good question. And as you see, I'm now serving as Vice President for the Association for the Development of Vietnamese Business Culture. It's crucial to make sure that when Vietnamese professionals, be it officials or a businessman going out to do business with counterparts living outside Vietnam, European, Japan, Korea, we need to understand the culture of the other side. To respect, is the name of your organization. Respect, that's very important. And you mentioned a lot of time is to be in trust. The third one is to really listen, right? To be, open to new ideas. Like you, when I came very first time to work in the European environment, even when I was a student, I was so shocked that we did not have time for nap. No time for nap. And second one, I hate working breakfast, working lunch, working dinner. That's crazy. How could it be? And for us, means time to enjoy, not to work, to recover and to refresh. But now I understand why. That's really give us a very professional environment. The efficiency of working. But on the other side, we also learn that you now gradually accept the good side of having a small break to recover, in the middle of the day. So the other key point is we have to share our values, and we have to integrate, to accept what is the best for us from outside. So that's another advice, and trust you mentioned, that's the key. For Vietnamese way of doing business is first to develop relationship, right? To be friends before becoming partners, right? But now anyway is leading us to building trust. Without that, we cannot work, successfully. The other way is very important. We also need to make sure that our partners understand our values and be tolerant to our values. Very first minutes when I met you, you taught me a lesson about pronouncing your name properly. So Vietnamese are really lazy and shortcut and very improvising people. Instead of saying Kees van Baar, they said, Kees van Baar. That's your name. It's very easy. So learning from each other, respecting each other, culture differences, and working together for the common objective. Thank you, the Netherlands, for helping us with a lot of projects in very important issues. We are celebrating our comprehensive partnership for many years, And one more thing, I really regret. As former ambassador to Germany, I told my ambassador to the Netherlands, Mr. Ngo Hướng Nam, that I'm the loser. Because for 2 years consecutively, the Netherlands took over Germany as the leading trading partner of European Union. The second years today, right? 15, 16 billion US dollar trade. We have only about 12. So congratulations and regret to me. Thank you. I learned a lot today. Really, thank you for.
I should say a lot of goods that come into the Netherlands. They come into the Netherlands and they go straight to Germany.
We have so many mutual benefit here. Yeah. That's wonderful, ambassadors. It's such an honor for us, the Chopstick Friends. We hear about your story, about your lessons, some things about your personal experience, your journey in Vietnam. And this is not this. This is just not the end. This is how we start the conversation of with so many capacity building. But we would like to look at it in a more innovative way, like learning from the past and see what didn't work, and try to learn in order to create something new, something Vietnamese way, something unique for Vietnam, like the chopstick, for example.
Perhaps my last point.
Yes.
I love what you said.
Yes.
I love the metaphor of the chopstick.
Thank you.
I need to share you one of my discovery.
Okay.
That there are many ways of holding the chopstick.
Exactly.
The first way, and I love it, is the multitask way.
Yes.
And the weak power.
Yeah.
You have only this one, but you reserve the 3-4 other things. Okay?
I didn't even know that. Oh my God.
Number 2 is
yes.
the powerful way.
Yes.
And focus. All your fingers concentrate on your target.
Yes, exactly.
You can choose.
Yes.
Thank you for the metaphor.
Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I still need to share, when last time we talked to Ambassador Kees already, that for the metaphor, where we learn it, we don't learn the Vietnamese. We learn from the chef, from one of our friends who came to Vietnam so many years, and this is his discover. Really? Do you know that I can use the pair of chopsticks and I can replace almost of all the ingredients in my kitchen? Because they can cook, they can stir fry, they can cut with it, they can, catch food, and they even place things.
Also, right?
Everything. Placing, frying. You try it and you let me know. But he literally used only one pair of chopsticks for almost of everything. Almost, of course. But the idea is very powerful. There's something that's simple, very alive, but very cost effective. Very cheap.
I like it. Very good.
and made of bamboo. So the idea is we're like, okay, that's encouraging innovator in Vietnam. We have to think, because everybody work fast, run fast. We need, instead of let's make it slower. Don't run, stop running. We need to together and find out the better way, not only running, but feel confident, feel trust in our body and the people who run with us. So that's why some metaphor like this, to encourage ourselves, other innovators, and we really hope that we'll have your support in the journey by having more innovation, even learning from Netherlands or Germany, everywhere, to really bring it to something beautiful ahead. So thank you very much for your support. We wish all the best to your journey, and hopefully the Chopstick fan can be part of your journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you in Dutch.